In every video game, we get the first iterations of, let's say, characters, tools, mechanics, etc. And of course, these would either go to be very dominant, popular, or completely define and shape what a game is. However, somewhere down the line, these things get altered, either nerfed or completely redesigned, whether it's a shift in game direction, vision, or a mechanic rework. Us as players who have grown quite accustomed to these items will go through several types of emotions depending on how these things affected us and our gameplay. And in this video, I'll be going over things that defined and shaped Warframe but no longer exist and will never ever return. Maybe. Just one of them, at least. Please. Please. So this video will either shed light on how Warframe once was to the new player base. Piss off veterans, god damn it, why did they remove these things? You know? I do understand why some of these were removed, except one of them. That was uncalled for. And still burns me till to this day. But we'll get to that, and you'll know which one it is. I will list a few of them. But if you have any that you think deserved a spotlight, please do share it down in the comment section. Let's start off with gas. Did you know this used to be one of the most overpowered elemental damage types with its status effect? Hey, I know, right? So it used to deal initial gas damage and then spawn individual toxin clouds, which were their own separate thing to the gas damage, as these toxin clouds would scale off your melee mods and the toxin elemental damage mod on your weapon. So whenever you built for gas, it was always important to use primed Fever Strike. Now, what was so important about these toxin clouds? Well, you see, they would triple dip in damage when used alongside faction damage modifiers. Imagine if we had old school gas with the current state of Helminth paired with Saren.
Oh, that's a lot of damage!
Yeah, these toxin clouds will spread out within 3 meters, and if you used Exodia Hunt with a Dokram Za, well, it was pure devastation. And because we're on the topic of melees, and we just talked about gas, it's great to go into Nerfed Shadow Step.
Just watch. Trust me. I'm telling you, it's gonna be fun. You don't know. You don't know. Oh, bro.
Damn. Kids today will never know true broken like how broken this was back in the days. So, Nerfed Shadow Step was a focused school node that granted you invisibility whenever you landed a critical strike. With your melee, of course. But Nightmare, what was so special about going invisible? Well, this was no ordinary invisibility. It was true invisibility, as in it cannot be dispelled. Not only that, being invisible back in those days was the best type of defense, cause anything could one-shot you. As in, there was no shield gating, overguard, or any of the fancy things we have today. I just dropped my earphones. On top of that, being invisible and using melee gave you access to stealth multiplier damage. Now, the best combo for this was Rhino and Gas. Oh, why Rhino? For one, he has Roar, which is a faction damage multiplier that's scaled with strength. Gas scales crazy with faction damage multipliers. And you have stealth damage multipliers. You saw where this is going? So you see how broken this was. It was so powerful and dominant that it was swiftly deleted from the game. Yo, can we get a moment of silence for Nerfed Shadow Step? You know, a little bit of 07 right there. All right, you definitely knew we were going to come here because I don't know, we're in the melee territory. Maiming strike. Guys, this is a PSA. Please read patch notes or do any bit of research before purchasing items, because I ended up selling someone a Riven. Okay. This is something I just gotta flex and talk about every time I bring up Maiming Strike, because damn. I sold a crit damage, attack speed, range, and negative Scoliac Riven for 25,000 yes, 25,000 platinum. That's 25 with 3 zeros. Just before Maiming Strike got nerfed. This dude must have been kicking himself hard. If you're watching this video, yeah, that was me. Too bad. Yeah, but hey, I made bank. The mod provided a flat 90% critical chance for slide attacks. Now, this bonus was calculated after other critical chance mods, allowing it to be combined with mods like Blood Rush to reach insanely high, instantaneous red crit on every slide attack. Melee had different combo scaling back in the days, and Blood Rush had a higher crit chance base value of 165% per combo. So yeah, you can see how crazy this got. Maiming Strike also got an indirect nerf prior to its bigger nerf. I mean, this affected all melees, by the way. For those who don't know, melees used to have some sort of punch through where they ignored walls and any line of sight, meaning you could just sit behind a wall and slide attack for hours. Yeah, that was a thing. And Maiming Strike was a rare drop, pretty much the most expensive thing alongside Loki and Ember Prime. Yeah, back in those days. A lot of people hated Maiming Strike, but it was meta. Meta to the point where it completely made anything else obsolete. Now, for the old school Itzal, this change definitely made so much sense. Arcwings were pretty shit. Sorry. Let me rephrase that. Arcwings are still pretty shit, but none of them could compare, nor can still compare, to Itzal. This is the fastest Arcwing out of all Arcwings. It can go invisible, suck up loot, freeze enemies, and spawn drones to deal damage for you. But did you know its first ability was the best movement tech for Arcwings, and now is a staple on all Arcwings? This simple movement, Blink, was Itzal's first ability that had no cooldown and could be used freely to blink across the map with ease. Yeah, talk about making every other Arcwing fucking useless. And DE said, alright, we're gonna fix this. And of course, that's when we got Railjack, Intrinsics that we use today. But Itzal is still a better choice over the others because it's just faster. And you can boost that speed with Intrinsics, mods, and even Warframe buffs. Arcwings were primarily used for Eidolons, sure. And with the nerf to Itzal's Blink, people had to use alternative methods to move around the planes. I mean, this method was always present, but it became the preferred way to traverse the planes, and even across your mission tilesets. Void Dash, the best movement tech in Warframe. I mean, this game is known for its diverse movement tech, but hey, this took it to the next level. What else can I say except...
Tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
When this change happened, well, every time I used Void Sling, I was
pissed off, man.
Nice. We are also doing our most comprehensive focus rework. Void Dash, as you have it now, has never been great in our normal levels.
Lies!
Because you kind of just bump into walls. And now there's going to be a telegraph for you to control how far you go with your operator dash. It looks and feels much better. And because we're making some changes to the way that your operator and Warframe work together, you can now, Void Dash right up, oops, and then just go right into melee and melee attack. And
You mean to tell moi that that is better than this?
Sentient energy contained. You are closing on victory. Act now. Energy spike.
Oh, hell no. I understand why they did this, because it was definitely for Warframe Mobile. Even console controller players didn't feel like Void Sling was an upgrade to Void Dash. So yeah, Void Sling is just slower, clunkier to use, and they added some sort of weird stickiness, so if you would Void Sling, you know, you would suddenly just stop, have your character start mantling and vaulting over random obstacles. It's freaking annoying. Yes, this still persists till today. In the initial launch of Void Sling, transference was god-awfully slow. Thank God they buffed the speed, but there is still a slight delay compared to the old Void Dash era. On top of that, they added the melee transference back into Warframe, so you perform a melee and then you transfers back into your Warframe, which is actually a welcomed addition until they added auto melee. Auto melee bugs out with melee transference. For example, I might have to do this a couple of times, but in the end, it does bug out, and it will cause me to use auto melee after performing a melee transference. So, melee. Oh, first try. Literally first try. There we go. See, it doesn't do it. Doesn't do it. We're fine now. And then it just happens. It's just so random. Auto melee even triggers when using Wrathful Advance from Calaveral. Still no fix to this bug till today. All they could do is just add a toggle to auto melee and it would be the easiest band-aid fix ever. Now, did I make this video to just rant about Void Slings? I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't. I don't know what you're talking about. But seriously, you can totally see the difference in the power we had. So yeah, here are the things that were completely deleted out of the game that we'll never ever get back. If I didn't cover something that you would have wanted to see, please leave it down in the comment section. I personally would have loved to talk about more things like towers, even though I never experienced them, but I've had a lot of friends who did do them. Trials, aka raids, which I did do, but I think raids is more of a type of, it's more of its own video. Yeah. Anyway, folks, that has been it for me. I do hope you enjoyed and learned something from this video. And if you did, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe. For more content, streams, and so much more, do it for the description. Thanks for watching. And as always, a peace. Bye-bye now.